Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from MMA world and beyond.
We got production value here. Love
Exactly.
it, baby. Love it.
Hey, look, and with Google Effects shutting down their sound in April, we need all the preparation we can take.
Yeah,
Or preparation H, depending on how the sound.
I saw that.
I
was choosing to ignore it.
Yeah, man. See, trying to bring us down, baby.
Yeah, they won't stop me.
Bring us down to your level, because Alexei jams the Google Effects.
I do, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Shed a tear. My name is Alexei Auld, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Know About Ass Kicking, but we're afraid you'd get your ass kicked for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Eugene, you're a WME-IMG. In the very public posturing for a mega fight between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Conor McGregor, Mayweather said, I don't want to talk to Dana White. The big bosses were the Fertittas. But then the Fertittas chose to sell the UFC, so Dana's just an employee, end quote.
Well, you can't end it there. He's the guy who used to carry my bags. Remember that, Sonny? Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Damn.
Ooh, the shine box line.
So how do you interpret Mayweather's PR move, and how, if at all, do you proceed?
Oh fuck! This is easy. This is easy. I'm assuming, based on the fact that the turn the talks have taken has gotten us here, is that he's not repped by WME, right? Because it's a public talk, that would be a private talk. So I don't know who reps him. Is it Lee Steinberg? I don't know who was a famous kind of 49ers guy. That's the only sports agent name who popped in my head. I don't know who who reps him, but this is not a cry for help, but this is a cry for not even a handout for a hand. It's like, I'm not going to deal with the guy who just signs papers. I'm not going to deal with the grocery clerk. I'm going to deal with the guy who can bring me the fucking meat. And by meat, I'm talking about places I need to spend my time now. TV commercials, TV shows, film roles. I don't think he has any interest in getting back into fighting full time, and certainly I don't think he's viewing a fight with Mystic Mac as full time anything. But WME is the new boss, man. You got to. So if I'm WME, I look. If I'm Ari, right away I go, oh, I guess Floyd wants to talk to us. Hey, send one of my senior agents out. Break bread with the guy, talk to him, find out what his career objectives are now that he's finished with boxing. Design a program that uses this match with McG as a spearhead for something that maybe includes a movie role with Vin Diesel, or if he's talking publicly, that deal is made, man. Because it means if he's at Creative Artist, he's unhappy with Creative Artist. If he's with, I can't remember who some of the other agencies, but everybody knows that WME is a big kahuna. If it's not them, CAA, there's money to be made. He wants to hang out with starlets. He's not boxing. Boxing is butt grinding, ball crushing work. Doesn't want to do it. Fight McGregor for the money, only if it's money plus. And what do you give a guy who has everything? You give him TV roles, you give him movie roles, give him talk shows, give him Dancing with the Stars. Someplace where he can use his heel persona. Because he's not shaking that. Yeah, it's great that the hip hop guys want to hang with him. 50 Cent, that friendship is gone by the wayside. They want to hang. That's not where he needs to be. He's looking at Wahlberg and saying, like, why not me?
Because you're 5'2", Floyd. That's one reason. Can you
so is Wahlberg.
Mark, he's a big dude. He's enormous, much taller than Floyd. I mean, the first thing you do, that was brilliant analysis, Eugene. Well, with one caveat, you don't send somebody else. Ari Emanuel has to go himself. I think Floyd knows who's the boss, and that's what this is. This is a come kiss Floyd's ring moment, boss man.
Yep.
And the other thing is, Dana White offering $25 million and a cut of the pay-per-view to Mayweather is just trolling. I mean, get real. Like anybody else in the world, up to and including Manny Pacquiao, that's a serious, serious offer, and they're really trying to make it happen. Floyd Mayweather, that's literally an insult to Floyd Mayweather.
And Mayweather was very compliant. He in a certain way he goes, I tell you what, I'll do it for 32, but I'm not talking to the grocery clerk.
Yeah.
So
and the diss, you see, he's getting a discount he's offering a discount just if he gets to diss Dana White. Yep. So it's
if it was Silicon Valley, they would circle the wagons and say, Dana's our guy. You got to talk to Dana no matter what. Thank God it's not Silicon Valley. It's LA, baby. And I agree with Nate in a certain regard, but Ari Emanuel is not getting an Uber going over there. He's not worth that much. Believe me, if Mayweather's doing it for 32 and the money is not the issue, he needs Ari at least as much as Ari needs him. This is
How about a text from Ari that says, next time you're in LA, meet me for lunch?
That's it, baby. That's it.
Yeah, he doesn't. I'm not expecting Ari to go flying to Vegas.
Yep. A reach out would be great. That would be.
But I'm sure he's having a laugh at the back and forth.
Who, Ari?
I think it's funny. Yeah.
Is there any evidence Ari Emanuel has a sense of humor?
I don't think he's laughing at anything, man. He's got a big nut to make up by June. This is strictly business, baby. You can laugh later when everybody's fucking wearing.
You can't laugh while you're making your nut.
Nope. Because you got guys out there trying to kill you.
Yeah. Alexei's getting dirty on you, Eugene.
I'm just ignoring it, man, because he said you're WME. If I'm WME, I've already fired Alexei.
I see.
Man.
Yeah.
And that's why you're gonna see me Jeez. So Nate, you're a major sports league.
Yeah.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. There you go, man. Hey, aren't you rocking some kind of sport? Oh,
that's the UT Longhorns. That's a university. It's an institute of learning.
Well,
some college football factory.
Well, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver implicated he, as well as other sports leagues, are looking at game length and format. Quote, obviously people, particularly millennials, have an increasingly short attention spans. So it's something as a business we need to pay attention to, end quote.
I'm sorry, could you, where'd you, I lost track, man. I was just paying attention to something else.
That was some masterful acting, Eugene.
Hey, man, I'm working. It's WME. They watch this show.
Right.
I know it. I see the
tweet,
tweets, so I'm working.
You're firing me on their behalf.
Yeah. Wherever there's a big guy pushing around a little guy, I'll be there.
There we
big
go.
Guy. Take it. Hit him again.
Since extended game lengths mean greater ad opportunities, are we approaching an end of an era, or you let other leagues worry about millennials? Nate?
You asking me?
Yes.
Now, NBA needs to listen to this, although this is the wrong thing. Shortening the game length, that's not going to get millennials on board with you. But the NBA fan is oldish. MLB, baseball's the one that needs to shorten the game and look at the younger demos, because that's the major sport that is aging out the most. And 9 innings, I don't know. The problem is you got your 60-something-year-old fan base. You start talking about 7 innings. I mean, what are you talking about? 7 innings, 2 outs an inning? I mean, what are they going to do in the NBA? Shorten the quarters, shrink the time, the shot clock? Like, this is a very difficult thing. I mean, you're jacking with these sports that have been seen for at least half a century as set in stone. These
American
are the sports. This is football, 4 quarters, 15 minutes each. This is basketball. I don't even know how many. Basketball is 4 quarters too, right? And none of us know how long a basketball quarter is.
I don't think you'd have 3 quarters.
Yeah.
I think basketball is 18 holes.
18 holes. See, there we go. We needed sports know-how. But I mean, what are they going to do? Like shave time off the quarter? It's like, I don't know. And like you say, the whole profit motive is in the ads, but they can't be cutting down the ads. I think they're just in an impossible quandary. Sports are doomed. Dead.
No, but
nothing you can do. Shotgun in mouth. That's my advice.
Well, you know what? They're guessing, because I'm going to tell you right now, if I go to somebody and say, great, you want to shorten the games for millennials because their attention span, can you show me the study, the results? And it'll be just like all those papers that Trump had on the desk.
Like folders.
And they're like, I'm not going to get into this now. It's just too much stuff to get into. Can I see the study? Can I actually take a look at the study? Because I've been hearing shit about millennials. They're lazy. They're this. They're that. I'm not saying that shit doesn't exist on a piece of paper, but I'm saying it's some Sharpie who wrote this shit on a piece of paper and is like, I got my finger on the pulse of the millennials. Well, this guy went to a fucking Goldfrapp show and picked up on some chick and like he's gonna do a paper. What the fuck do you know? The fact of the matter is, sports constantly evolve and constantly have to position themselves. They lost a fucking tranche of people with those fucking stupid strikes. I'm talking about the MLB. Basketball has been laboring for years under this illusion that people are gonna stop watching because there are too many Negroes, and football was like, oh, it's down because of the whole Kaepernick thing. Now it turns out it's more popular than ever. So these are stories floated by competing interests. And you guys are maybe too young to remember this, but in the early days, I was friends with somebody who worked at Publicis, a big ad agency, and they were involved in working with Anheuser-Busch to sell, and they had received in no uncertain terms, they were working with Showtime, HBO, no uncertain terms that they would not at all to hold truck with MMA, this cockfighting thing. I mean, it wasn't accidental. When I see these beer companies advertising in the UFC, I'm like, what a difference a few million fans makes. Yep. It was not accidental. Top salespeople were told, do not. It's to your benefit. It would behoove you to do so. Do not do this. Do not sell boxing advertising at the MMA because our friends at Anheuser-Busch are deeply in bed with boxing folks. No, this is. Everybody's trying to militate for better positioning, and if they're saying some shit about millennials, believe me, that's who benefits. Who benefits? Okay, are they being squeezed on ad rates because the online shit is? Believe me, it's not as it seems in this instance.
Man, so Eugene, speaking about something not being what it seems. You're a listener of the Daily Shoah. After enjoying years.
Yeah.
And in this case, Eugene actually isn't a listener of the Daily Shoah, so it ought to be easy for him, right?
Yeah.
After enjoying years of Mike Enoch's anti-Semitic revelry, a stealth doxing revealed that he was sleeping with the enemy, figuratively and literally. Is now the time to put down the swastikas and embrace Zog?
Who am I now? Oh,
you're a listener.
We struggled with
your
this
heart is
question.
No. Listen. Let me tell you, they have periodically gone through this shit before, right? I mean, there have been a number of high-ranking, like white supremacy, white nationalists, neo-Nazi types who have revealed to be somewhat sympathetic. And what I'm curious about, these elements of Zog, these neo-Nazi guys talking about. The Jew-controlled media, the government under Obama, Hillary, and they've been amazed, and they were super supportive of Trump with David Duke coming out, and now with the up-level involvement of Jared Kushner, I'm not hearing too much. I'm actually not hearing too much chatter at all, and I think they realize what should have been realized back in 1945. That they lost and will continue to lose this war. I mean, I'm sorry, man. You're not just like the too many Negroes in the NBA. It's just
that's the weird thing because Vox just did a focus group on this show, and that's exactly what they said.
Too many Negroes on If I Did It, man. That's a lonely show. You get the Negroes off of it. Yeah.
You're gonna have nobody. I mean, everyone knows
that's. I mean, okay, that's not exactly what they said. What they said is more kid name. That's what they said. They said
how did you?
So I mean, I think that if you, I mean, the genius of Judaism is that it's matrilineal, man. You have a guy out there named Steiner, and if you're a rabid, insane anti-Semite, you will realize that war will never fucking be won ever.
So like Rambo to a certain degree. It ain't over. It's never over.
Yeah, no, it's nobody saw. People say, there've been genocides before. Don't give me. Nobody suffered like the Jews suffered. And if you think that they have, like Netanyahu said this great thing that I liked. He said, though in general I don't like him. He said, if I have a choice between underreacting and overreacting, given the history of my people on this planet, I'm going to choose to overreact. So if you think that you're ever, it's like, you know, I don't know if you've ever dealt with bad guys. This with bad guy, he goes, I'm not going to go to that guy's house and kill him. But if I catch him slipping, in other words, what he's saying is if the clouds open and opportunity presents itself and Providence smiles on me and I happen to be driving down the street with my gun and I see that guy without his, I'm fucking shooting him. You know, Kevin Weeks would do that. They pull guys off the street, guys at the ATM. Hey, come on. Hey, it's raining. You want to ride? Nah, it's okay. I'll walk. Now, they could have just shot him on the street, but they had decided that if that guy got in the car, they were going to murder him, which is what he told me as we were driving around Boston. So sometimes opportunity presents itself.
Were you in the passenger seat when he told you that story?
Yeah, I was in the passenger seat.
Was there a guy in the back?
Man, I'd have been very uncomfortable if there was a guy
You heard
in the
something in
back.
the trunk.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm having problems with my catalytic converter. Yeah, no. So, I mean, so this is the kind of thing where you guys really need to, you're not going to forget it. You're not winning this one. You'll never, you had a look in 1940 and that moment will not come again.
Just come and join us. Having a lot of fun.
Hey.
A lot of good times to be had.
There are a lot of days in Hanukkah, man. It's a great holiday. Enjoy yourself.
What do you think, Nate?
Well, I think this is the biggest loss to the Klan since Clayton Bigsby turned on him. That's the Dave Chappelle sketch. Yeah, I mean, this is a moment to check yourself. You've been listening to nonsense spewed by idiots, presumably for a profit motive. I've been trying to puzzle through this. Like, what was dude up to with this? Like, he's married to a Jewess, and he's spewing neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic hate speech for a living, and apparently a pretty nice living.
Yeah, man.
I mean, they were booking. They were selling T-shirts and the whole coffee cups, and they had advertisers and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and his wife's Jewish, and she's cool with this? Like,
Hey man, I had a store and I had a whole white supremacy section in the store, and this friend of mine comes in and he's like, yo, Eugene, what the fuck is this, man? And he said, I don't remember this story. He recently told me this story again. I was sitting behind the counter at the cash register, and I started laughing, and he goes, hey, I'll sell him their revolution. Yeah, no. There you go, man. Fuck that.
I think at the end of the day, I think it's one of the problems with a lot of, a lot of different kinds of, even ethnic movements, and different kinds of political based things with merchandising and where you can put money into someone else's coffers is, there is in a lot of these situations, a profit motive, like you said, individuals who just will gladly take some raging idiot's money.
As Ian MacKay said, it's not what you're selling, it's what you're buying.
Hey, have you seen, and I'm sure you've seen that movie Devil's Advocate, right?
Yes.
And the last scene where he's like, oh, he's beat the devil, and then the guy appears in the stairwell. Hey, we want to do a cover story on you. He goes, yeah, and then it's like, man, humans are such easy fucking prey. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no.
Well, in terms of cover stories, Eugene, that's a perfect segue. This is a harmonic convergence.
No, I'm a professional. That's all.
Nate, you're a mainstream media journalist talking about cover stories.
Coincidentally, I am a mainstream media journalist.
Well, there we go. All right. During his first press conference, President-elect Donald Trump showed you that he was the baddest of the bad, the bull of the woods, live and in public, if you will. Now your Russian colleagues
What the hell? I got no idea what that was, but okay.
You never know the bull of the woods?
What is that? Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
The bunkhouse stampede, dusty roads.
Oh, okay, right. Sorry.
The bull of the woods.
That's right. I know I couldn't hear anything.
When you have to wake up in the morning, you don't even know if you got to feel your face to see if your nose is still attached, if your eyeball is still in your sockets.
I just couldn't hear you, man. I'm sorry.
So, which means I had to go on and on for the Dusty. Thank you very much. Give me an opportunity to give a Dustyism. Now your Russian colleagues claim you've entered a new era. Or according to Alexey Kovalev, quote, this man owns you. He understands perfectly well that he is the news. You can't ignore him. You're always playing by his rules, which he can change at any time without any notice, end quote. During the campaign, He broke your back and made you humble. So how are you going to handle this new era and woo, the Butherwoods?
Well, the same way we handled Dana White at Bloody Elbow. We never got credentials. We never wanted them. So, I mean, okay, a couple times we got credentials, but they were always useless to me. We just covered the sport. You don't have to kiss ass. You don't have to shake hands. You don't have to be in people's faces to cover news. Like, the dude you're talking about is a PTSD survivor from Russia, where Putin can turn off your TV channel like that. Click, it's gone. He drag a billionaire out of his tower at the penthouse at the top of the tower and put him in a dungeon.
Cause your Google Hangouts to not sync with the...
Well, we know that they've been up to that. But this is America. It's still America. And Josh Marshall, American Journalist, Talking Points Memo, was pointing out yesterday, don't be a crybaby about this stuff. Just stand up to the dude. You do not need access to the White House to ask the important questions, to get the important stories. Just get the story. Focus on that. Forget about access. Access journalism is a lie and doesn't get you anywhere. So just grow a pair and man up. I mean, this is you don't need to kowtow to Trump. And like for people that are going, oh my God, Trump is the scariest thing that ever happened. No. Bush post 9/11 was much, much scarier. You know why? Because he had an overwhelming public support from the American people. Trump has the lowest fucking approval ratings of any U.S. president in history at his inauguration.
38.
Yeah, and yeah, he can say these are fake news and this isn't real polls, but you know, the polls actually did pretty much nail the spread in the election. Clinton won by 3%. I mean, it's just that she got her votes in the wrong places because Clinton campaign was stupid, but Trump is not popular, and this is still America. There hasn't been a 9/11 in a long time. He doesn't have some crisis that he's responding to, and I don't even know if we would circle the wagons around Trump's dumbass. I mean, he's being accused of colluding with foreign powers to win the election. I don't personally buy those stories insofar as, yeah, he's obviously colluding with Putin, and I guarantee if we had his tax returns, we'd know how many billions of dollars he owes some Russian banksters who owe their lives to Putin. But the WikiLeaks thing manifestly did not tip the scales on the election. That's just wah stupid from the Clinton Democrats. So just man up. This dude is not popular. He does not have public support. And your ratings are not dependent on Trump. He drives some good ratings, yeah, and he's the president, and he's going to have real power, and he's going to be able to do some things. But don't throw in the towel before the fight starts, guys.
Yeah, that's fucking pathetic. Hey, listen, let me tell you, I was interviewing, you might Donna Shalelis, I don't know, I was interviewing Nia Long, and she was being a complete fucking piece of shit to me, right? Just like really imperious, you know, like, and I'm thinking, I think that Nia Long has forgotten that she's Nia Long. You know, I mean, most of you now, I mentioned Nia Long, you probably have to go to your phone and type it in to see who the fuck she is. So I'm interviewing her, and she's like, "Hey, listen." In the middle of the interview, she goes, "You have any more questions? I mean, were you?" And I look at her. I have a tape recorder on the table between us. I put my click it off. Go, nope, that's it. She's like shocked, and she goes, "Oh, well, because if we did, I would just like to add." And she goes, I go, "No, we're done." We're done. You know what? Because like Kid Nate said, I don't need your fucking access. You know, I mean, if you remember the Red Dawn days, like the commies were going to come and take over America. I remember laughing about that continued fucking, you know, canard that the Russians were going to come and take over. Americans can't control. Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Not the same way they control fucking Russia. You know, Americans can't control America. It is inherently, by design, an unfucking ruly country. There is fucking no way. And if you were a journalist, I mean, see, the thing is, I think that Donald has overplayed his hand to the extent that, you know, Bush was a deal maker. It was like, you know, not in the sense that he was giving a little to get a little, to give a little to get a little. Trump is like my way or the highway, and that shit's not going to work, man. I got to go to work. I'm a journalist. I'm going to tell you right now, I got to go to work every fucking day, and I got a quota. I got to get shit written. I got to get it written, filed, and in the copy edit, no matter what, you know. So you cut access to everybody, but, well, it's not going to be Fox because you don't trust them. Who are you going to give access to? Your Twitter feed and what? one guy who's crawling on his belly from CNN that you've deigned. Nah, the stories are going to get written. When I used to do collections, or when I had that friend who used to do collections, he would say, ignoring this won't make it go away. And I got to tell you, if the press can be this knee knocked like they were in the George W. Bush, but you got to realize this guy's an active and aggressive antagonist, and the people that like him don't read you anyway. So fuck it. The gloves should be off right now, and they are to a certain extent. I'm reading the other Eugene Robinson. He's been giving it to him. Charles Blow from the New York Times. It's like there's no need to fucking play nice. This is, I got freedom of expression in this country. I got the First Amendment rights, and as a member of the Fourth Estate, the public's got a right to know. I'm going to pursue these stories. Now, you should know if you intend to go to Russia and ask questions, that could be a one-way trip. Don't get crazy. Don't get crazy and think the pen is mightier than the.
Yeah, I'll tell you, one of the journalists I most respect, who's an editor at rawstory.com, she's already come out and she's got some great questions about this dossier that BuzzFeed put out. But she's like, but I'm not doing this story myself. I learned my lesson investigating the Russians a couple years ago. Not happening again. Yeah. So,
did she elaborate?
Yeah, well, she just, elaborated enough to make it clear that
it's no fucking joke, man. It's no.
I mean, people will be following you and breaking into your house and shit like that if you get too close to Putin, even if you're a U.S. reporter.
Yep.
See, I'm a little worried now about getting too close to Nia Long. I mean, in law school, a friend of mine was like, "Oh, Alexei, I know her, and I think that you're her type." And she's looking to go out with somebody, so I can only imagine.
I don't know what color your car is. What color is your car, Alexei? She went on and on about the color of a man's car, what color it should be. What color is your car? I'll tell you if you got a chance. That's a question. I'm asking you. What color
is your car?
It's white.
Which one?
Ooh.
The one you drive to pick up Nia Long.
Oh.
You rent one.
Well, back in the day, it would have been a taxi cab, man. Not driving in New York and Manhattan.
When a guy can't answer the question.
No, seriously. If it was back in the day in Manhattan, I'm not driving a car. I'm taking a taxi.
Okay, then you get out of it. Nate, what color car do you drive up in?
Well, I got a gold one, and I got a white. So I would drive up in the gold one myself.
Yeah. Don't show up in the white one. She thinks that makes a man a homosexual.
Well, it makes me hard for the police to notice. Is what it makes me. So
white car?
Yeah, white car.
Yeah.
Big believer in the white car.
Yeah.
I once went a whole year without getting my car inspected.
Yep.
Nobody noticed.
Wow.
White cars, white vans are invisible.
And I've talked my way out of a number of police encounters with mad drugs and guns in the car too. So
back in the day,
100-foot cliff dive into total stupidity. Do the number one rule: do not admit to criminal activity in a recorded medium.
This is ancient. This is many, many years ago, decades ago.
There's no statute of limitations on murder, my friend.
Hey, there was no murders involved.
Whoa, says you. What would Donald Trump say? Okay. All right.
But there might have been a career suicide because, Eugene, you're NBC.
Yeah.
After Steve Harvey made racist jokes about the desirability or lack thereof of Asian men among black women and white women on his NBC daytime show, his show apologized. That wasn't enough for a group of New York Asian American lawmakers who put you on blast Friday. Quote, what makes Steve Harvey's ridiculous diatribe even worse is that NBC apparently found nothing wrong with disparaging an entire race of people, end quote.
Only half. He only disparaged half. Multiple races, actually, but only half, not the women.
What PR moves do you take to make amends?
If you're NBC?
Yes.
Well, first of all, let me say that Steve Harvey has never been fucking funny. Steve Harvey is the black George Lopez, where you're sitting there the whole time waiting for something funny to happen. You're like this. nothing like he's the guy who got the job because he was sort of channeling Richard Pryor. He kind of looked like Richard Pryor. That's why he was getting the work. What the fuck, 20 years later, are we still talking about Steve Harvey? And I got to let you, look, You know,
You're not right over
see the Kings of Comedy tour?
man, he was not fucking funny.
But
man.
he was the straight man on the Kings of Comedy, wasn't he?
I don't remember. I don't even remember. I just remember he's not funny. As in, I'm in the refrigerator getting liquor. I'm not paying attention to that guy. But you know, it's one thing. One thing you need to know, and if you watch Knuckle Up, you know that I'm about to segue into the Tokyo 7-Eleven condom story. Right, much like when I was in Russia and I'm walking down the Nevsky in St. Petersburg and I walk past a butcher shop and they have one fucking piece of meat in there and I'm like, look, they got one piece of meat, and the butcher is looking at me through the window like, that's great, man. I'm a butcher with one fucking piece of meat. Fuck you, you know? So this is it transposes to Tokyo. I'm looking to buy a condom, and the condoms are all like, I could fit my little finger. I'm like, and the guy behind the counter is like, fuck you, Mr. Negro. It's not fucking funny. He had to know. I know this is a joke I told in the 80s. Nobody was laughing about it in the 80s, man. And if you're an Asian dude, I don't know if it's true or not. How much Asian penis have I seen? Not a lot. What do I know? What the fuck do I know? And the Asian guy's like, now you got to put this on me. That's why every time there's a crime committed and they go, the perpetrator looked, and I'm sitting there like, he was Latino. I go, whew, thank God. It's like, I got all this shit plus this other shit I got to deal with. You got to be safe. Of all people,
until you find out he's Dominican, and they're like, "What? Wait a second."
Right. Steve Harvey, of all people, there's an expectation that your level of sensitivity should put you in place. And somebody once, when I was doing Skull Game, the porn site, this woman told me, she was one of my reviewers. She goes, "My boyfriend thinks you're an anti-Semite." I go, "Why?" She goes, "Because you tell Jew jokes." And I go, "What? I tell all kinds of jokes. No Italian person is upset because I call them a wop. It's just the nature of the beast." And she goes, "No, that's not how it works. Jews make fun of Jews. Fat people make fun of fat people. Black people make fun of black people." And then I go, you know what? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I make fun of whoever the fuck I want to. And I start to think about the guys who did that. There's like one, right? It's like Don Rickles. And then the other one who buckled under the fucking pressure was Andrew Dice Clay.
What about Gilbert Gottfried?
Gilbert Gottfried is not pop.
That's true. He's not pop at all. Pop at all.
No.
What do you think, Nate?
I think, yeah, NBC's got to disassociate themselves from this dumbass who was just flirting with doing the Trump inauguration until his wife told him not to. So maybe there's a potential base. Maybe Steve Harvey could become like a new Dennis Miller, sort of the Trump era comedian.
That's Rob Snyder, who's saying that the best thing that happened to Negroes is that what did he say? The GOP.
John Lewis, the history of Martin Luther King Jr. would have.
Yeah, Rob Schneider needs to. The things I could say about the things that need to be said about Rob Schneider, I would get fired for saying. But Steve Harvey, NBC needs to disassociate himself, and dude needs to educate himself. There's actually an entire internet subgroup of black women and Asian men who get together because they're tired of white women poaching the black men poaching the Asian women, and they're coming together and they're finding happiness together. So Steve Harvey isn't paying any attention to what black women are actually doing. It is brilliant. So, and NBC needs to just, and the days. Sad. I think it's kind of sad. Once upon a time, American comedians made all kind of ethnic jokes. That's how we ironed out the great melting pot thing in the post 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. After we froze immigration, then suddenly all the ethnic groups that were here more or less smoothed off the edges with some good-natured joshing, except for black people who were always, on the outs, and everybody agreed we're better than them. Like that was the American trick. Like come on the boat. Hey, you can immediately be better than them. That's the American dream. But those days are past, and black people have had it. There's, and Asian people have
it. I took my car to my Italian mechanic. I asked him for a rough estimate. He beat me up.
Rodney Dangerfield, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Well, that's funny because it brings up this article I read about Larry David and how there's going to be a new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and how the last time the show was on, I think, what, 3 to 5 years ago, you didn't have this age of outrage, internet outrage, and the fact that what's going to happen when his show comes on, and there's going to be stuff people are going to be outraged over, and the fact he's like,
well, there was already, if you remember, if you go back, there was already that event with Seinfeld, right, where he kind of came out, Jerry Seinfeld, and came out and said, what is it that every bit of comedy, they're talking, giving him a hard time about casting decisions, where every bit of comedy has to be like the fucking Rainbow Nation, man. If I want to fucking, because he was feeling a little touchy about people getting on Seinfeld for being in New York City and featuring
nobody.
a Jewish version of Friends, essentially, and and he's, I don't either, and it's like, yeah, man, I'm willing to listen to you, except I was a big fan of the Doctor Strange comic, and I know that there was nobody who looked like Tilda Swinton in the Doctor Strange comic. They said, well, the original portrayal was racist. It's like, man, give dude a bone. There's some Asian guy sitting at home looking at that going, what?
That was all about exporting movies to China, and China not wanting to hear the word Tibet in a movie is what that was. That wasn't really racist. That was business.
It actually works in the movie. Tilda Swinton, I think.
What about Joseph Fiennes with the, I'm Michael Jackson?
Yeah, that one.
People have thought I was joking about my inner line on Where My Bitch Is At, the Tupac Shakur biopic with starring Tom Cruise. You thought I was joking, huh? I wasn't joking. It's happening.
Well, something else that's happened is our teachable moment. Nate, you're a singer, Jennifer Holliday. Last Friday, you told the New York Times you were performing at President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. Quote, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just a singer. And it's a welcome concert for the people on the mall, end quote. You claimed your performance, like the ones you had for President Reagan, Clinton, Bush Sr. and Jr., was just a tribute to Marian Anderson, who, quote, paved the way for me to sing as a Black American, end quote. But after reading an article in Daily Beast citing you as an inspirational gay icon, your performance would be interpreted as a political act. The following day, you cited that article, apologized for your, quote, lapse of judgment, end quote, and concluded, quote, my only choice must now be to stand with the LGBT community and to state unequivocally that I will not perform for the welcome concert or for any of the inauguration festivities. And that's all in caps, end quote. What can we learn about your PR reversal when presented with plans to pal around with the president?
Well, what you're seeing here is the neoliberal elite circling the wagons, the neoliberal progressive elite. Okay, little lesson here. Our whole economic model goes back to Reagan and Thatcher. They threw out Keynesianism, which was the economic model that went from World War II until the early 70s. In the 70s, nobody had figured out what to do about inflation yet. Reagan came along. Huh?
Keynesianism? You mean like kinesiology?
Yeah, you Mr. Stanford education. This is anti-elitism, Mr. West.
You fell for the trap, Eugene.
I'm the real American here, the one that went to state college.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You liberal coastal elites. But Reagan came along, and Reagan was just straight up old school racist, right? Like started his career in Philadelphia, Mississippi, which if you knew the history of the civil rights movement, started his presidential campaign, you knew that was a fucking evil move to do, to go to the place where civil rights martyrs were killed and launch your campaign, because you knew every racist in the South was hip to what you were doing and everybody else was sleeping on it. But Clinton comes along 10 years later with a little twist on it. It's like, I'm all for giving rich people money, just like Reagan was, but we want to make some black people rich too, so we're good and cozy and warm and fuzzies. And so that's been the whole model. As long as the boardroom is integrated, we don't have to worry about the 99% of everybody else that's getting fucked no matter what their race is. And so this is what you're seeing with Hollywood and the media and everybody else totally rejecting Trump. It's not because he's racist. They didn't give a shit that George W. Bush was racist. I mean, you want to look at Ashcroft, the Attorney General of Bush, he's just as racist as Jeff Sessions was, and nobody was worried about it at all. Even when they stole the election, nobody cared. John Lewis and a few others who boycotted the Bush inauguration, I'll give it some respect to. But everybody else that happily went along, every celebrity in America was on board with George W. Bush. Now they're suddenly rejecting Donald Trump. It's because of his populism. It's not because of his racism. So That's the thing.
No, no,
So
no,
she's
no,
got to
no,
circle the
no,
wagons and be part of her
no, 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 no,
community
no, no,
because of
no,
her
no.
career. Because people like Eugene will blackball you.
No. You're almost right, man. But let's go back to Donna Summers.
At UT, that would be an A. Okay,
Yeah,
maybe
okay,
it's a B at Stanford.
Okay, so Donna Summer, her first big hit was "Love to Love Your Baby," 17-minute disco mix. It broke in the fucking gay nightclubs, right? The Continental Bats on 72nd Street, 73rd Street in New York. And
I was there.
And how was it you were getting into those clubs at 16, Eugene?
What, are you kidding me?
With my Adonis physique.
That band Fear had a song for it, Fresh Flesh, so she was, and then she went through a boy, she said, well, when I recorded that song, we were cracking up in the studio. I couldn't really take it seriously. Okay, you can distance yourself from you. Sade has done it. She goes, I'm pretty level-headed. I'm not prone to flights of romantic fantasy. It's kind of distancing, but it was more her trying to control the media, right? And then Donna Summers comes out and just says, I'm a fucking born-again Christian. And people are like, well, Little Richard did it. It doesn't mean. And I disapprove of the gay lifestyle. And then, the Lost Battalion, some people get chosen. Some people choose it. And Donna Summers' career was never the fucking same. The chick who starred in The Wiz, Stephanie Mills.
Yep.
At one point, they interviewed her about something, and I understand where she was coming from. She backed the media. She's black. What do we ask her? I don't know. Ask her some black shit. And at one point, she just said enough. But the way she framed it was, I don't want to talk about that. Being black is so depressing in America. I don't consider myself black anymore. I don't know how many people remembered, but I tell you who didn't forget. The black community didn't fucking forget. So Eddie Murphy says, fuck you if you don't like Elvis. I like Elvis. Yeah, well, the black community remembers when he said the only thing a black guy, I'm trying to make it like 2017. Only thing a black guy can do for me is shine my fucking shoes.
And buy my records.
Elvis never said that.
Oh, yes. Okay. He never said. So anyway. Yeah. It was, the thing is, appearance, reality, and he was a great supporter. We know this. Was Elvis a racist? Was Al Jolson a racist? No. But the system made them convenient symbols. So I think Jennifer Holliday, somebody got to her and like, are you fucking kidding? Or it's not the liberal media establishment. You're talking about your constituency. Look at that Nathan Thurm clip I put up a few weeks ago. It was like where he's talking to Robert Kennedy. Goes, and they say, well, New York is going to be on 12 feet of water. And Nathan Thurm goes, well, the New York theater scene is not what it used to be. Most grown men don't like musicals, Bobby. It's like, who are you talking? Who's a Jennifer Holliday fan? Are any of your male friends Jennifer Holliday fans who also don't like other men?
I don't even know who she is. That's how macho I am.
Well, what's so funny though is that when she was on I saw right before the show doing my research, I saw her on The View.
You see, he said exculpatory. It's okay if you're gay, man. I'm not passing judgment.
No, I knew who Jennifer.
Look,
I know who Jennifer Holliday is. I know who Jennifer Holliday is. I had explained to my wife. She's like, "What does she do anyway?" And I had to break down to her like who Jennifer Holliday was.
It's kind of like Judy Garland.
Right?
Judy Garland.
So exactly, but she kind of got ripped off. But anyway, so look. So what's fascinating is on The View, when she was trying to recreate stuff, I thought that she would just go into the Daily Beast article and say like, look, I read this article, whatever. But she eventually talked about that when she was coaxed to talk about it, right? But the thing that she harped on like for minutes was the fact that she was receiving backlash from Black Americans. And she was being called the N-word and kill yourself and people like, oh, people posing as black people. It's like, no. She's like, I looked, you can see who people are. And I looked and I was like, oh my, these are black people. Like, she's like, I'm from Texas. I grew up in mixed environments, middle class mixed environments. Never called the N-word back in the day. Like this is shocking. Like, people responding to me this way and like to be called this and whatever. And say, oh, and the Daily Beast article. Oh yeah, the Daily Beast article too. But they call me the N-word and so it's really fascinating to see the kind of thing that, the posturing that she was engaging in, which was pretty inconsistent with what, the alleged turn was in understanding, her understanding of what she did and how she be a symbol. you know. But it was really fascinating to see, you know, just this whole, you know, someone who claimed, I'm just a singer, and you know, I'm too busy working. I'm not caught up in this stuff.
Hey man, you know, when the B Street band, that is the Bruce Springsteen cover band, pulls out, you know it's time to go, man. You can't, you know.
Is it time for Oxbow to perform?
You
Would you
put me in
perform the concert? You got to, man.
What are they paying?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that Trump pays. That's the problem.
Because if Trump, well, I don't accept vodka in payment. If Trump would think me on stage punching people in the face and masturbating is going to be the kind of entertainment he wants, then I would have to play. You know, but the reality of it is, you know, my constituency would be really counting on me to do that kind of thing. So they'd be all tuned in and dialed in. Everybody would be happy. But you know, I mean, record labels are. You know what the record label did? They fucking got on that phone so fast because with these 360-degree deals, man, who's buying your records? Your personal appearances, and that fucking slice of the pie dries up. Where the fuck are you gonna be? Yep. Where are you gonna be? We're talking about money. We're talking about careers. How old is Jenna? How old is she? How old?
She has to be in her 60s, right?
Hey man, can you live another 30 years on no money?
Let me see.
You know, property tax is a bitch.
I mean, I think the thing for her though is also the fact that, you know, being cheated out. I mean, she thought she could be in the Dreamgirls movie instead of Beyonce.
Yeah, but you know, listen, let me tell you. I mean, Kid Nate is thinking that that they are trying to please some sort of overlords. This is not about that, man. This is like Dylan just said. It's not about pounds and about pence. This is about dollars and cents. So I'm going to update. It's not about Trump and about pence. It's about dollars and cents, man. You can't. There is no margin for fucking around anymore. You cannot go. There's Garth Brooks. How come you even haven't got country guys out there? It's like
he says he supports Trump, but he's just busy on inauguration night.
Yeah. Garth Brooks knows that he's picked up a lot of fans from across the other side of the aisle. I like Garth Brooks. You know, he got a good soulful thing. Can't fuck around, man. You can't fuck around. It's every nickel you could squeeze out of this machine you got to, and you just can't do it. You just can't.
Well, yeah, so wild too is if you think about just even a week or so ago, I was talking to a coworker about the Kennedy Center Awards, right? And she was like, "What's it going to be like? You know, is Trump even going to show up for it? You know, is there going to be some kind of politicization in terms of whether or not you accept?"
Paul Anka won't be getting one.
What?
Paul Anka won't be getting one. That's after he bowed out.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just it just adds a different layer of so many different things.
And of course, this is the continuing. This is like a continuing issue for him, right? This is like a psychodrama played out. This is the kid. I mean, you know.
You mean Trump?
Yeah, you know who he cares about? It's like, what is that great line from the Replacement song? You know, the ones that we love the least, the ones that love us the least are the ones we die to please. He really wants his A-list recognition, man. Right. It's writ large over everything he does. You know who a similar cat, but much more self-contained and similar in a lot of ways. Larry Flint. Got the name on the building, got the Flint hotels, the Flint casinos, the Flint Hustler Club, the whole thing. But he doesn't have that secret inborn craven need for approval because my psychomonograph says because Flint didn't grow up a fucking rich kid. He had plenty of time.
He's from Cincinnati and does not give a fuck.
He had plenty of time to experience people not liking him for this or that. Trump grew up a rich kid's son, is a little richy rich, and he's desperately wants to. He desperately wants Alec Baldwin to like him, man. It's not the jokes that he minds. It's this idea that Alec Baldwin really doesn't like him. And that's what's driving him fucking crazy. You know, it's got, I mean, Ashcroft was a racist. Yeah, it's got, Trump has become, and people tie into that, man. They fucking tie. Why do you think Susan Lucci lost all those times? There was Oh, Jesus Christ. She was a daytime soap opera actress who was nominated for a daytime Emmy like 14 times in a row.
Okay, I remember now.
She lost 13 times. It was the same thing that drove her to show up year after year, caused people to show up to watch year after year, because she was so desperate and desirous. Marlon Brando sent Sachi Littlefeather. Fuck you guys. I don't give a fuck about your awards and what happened. You know, the world, people love Susan Lucci, and Marlon Brando didn't give a shit about Marlon Brando. So I mean, Trump is of the cloth. We can feel his need, and that need makes us want to reject him.
Yeah, Trump's a narcissist, not a sociopath. That's an important distinction.
That's a good one.
My fault, wrong one. So it's time for Kid Nate's heel turn.
Well, this was a tough one. We've got a lot of fuck ups and idiots this week. I toyed with doing Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Mr. Environmentalist, Mr. Heir to the Kennedy tradition, because he's either taken or mulling over considering a position in Trump's cabinet because they share a common skepticism about vaccines, to which I say, fuck you, dude. Get measles. Get polio. Go kill somebody else's kids. This is bullshit. This is nonsense. And people should have known this guy was an asshole when he was a hardline marijuana prohibitionist, like when he was the last dead ender still talking about banning marijuana, him and Hillary Clinton. But at this point, with the polling numbers coming out and Trump's approval rating so low, my heel turn is the American people turning on Donald Trump. Their president, who's trying so hard to do a good job for them, who wants everybody to have health insurance, who's going to make the country great again. We're going to be winning so much. People are tired of it, and people are tired of it already. It's a brutal betrayal, and it's just, I can't fathom it. What more can the man do for the American? He makes the CEO of Exxon Secretary of State. What more do you people want? What more do you people want? And now, in his face, it's heartless. Heartless.
Man,
that's it. That's all I got.
You ready to go to Canada, man?
Am I ready to go to Canada? It's too cold in Canada. Too cold.
Oh man.
No, I'm still with the enormity of it. The massive influx. I feel like the Lost Battalion has become a fucking refugee camp.
I've noticed you starting putting entire fan bases into the Lost Battalion. Now you did it with a lot of Rousey fans, fine, but when you threw in BJ Finn fans, come on.
This coming from a man who put an entire country in.
Our president.
Sitting here on Tuesday, can you say you disagree with that BJ Penn? BJ Penn himself wasn't in the Lost Battalion until he said, when people see this fight, it will be like seeing a professional versus an amateur.
That was just pre-fight hype, man.
And then the chair was empty, and they were like, what happened to BJ? He was down by the wood pile. So now sitting here on Tuesday, after seeing what you saw, right? After seeing what you saw with essentially 5 minutes and 21 seconds of fucking brutality, can you tell me that all of it? And I got some apologists, some of the commenters, some guys are sending me stuff.
There's still people sticking by BJ after that?
Still, they're like a few outliers. And I'm not sure whether they're trolling me or not, but it's like, there's room like that great, in the dead of the night, that great 1940s British horror film. There's room for one more. That's what the thing about the Lost Battalion. There's always room for one more, or like Jell-O. There's always room for Jell-O. I mean, I am shaken to my core by this fucking fight.
46, was it like 46? Because after watching Knuckle Up, and you talk about how many
32.
blows, I watched it and it was like, are you sure it wasn't 40-some? I don't think you were counting the backhand with the.
Correct. I was only counting the one way.
Poop. He two-pieced him. He was windmill two-piecing him.
Yep.
Pap.
Yep.
I was watching, like, oh, what the. This crazy.
And I want people to. I want also. So I'm still in shock at this fucking fight. And the scragglers, the refugee scragglers who are saying, well, BJ should have done. And come on, get in there, because you're fucking crazy. But on the other side, on the fucking flip of it, I'm gonna have to say, you want an object lesson in staying out of the fucking Lost Battalion? Never thought I'd be saying this, buddy, but that fucking Chael Sonnen taking a pig's ear of a fucking fight. And I don't know if you watched that package. I actually contacted Kogan and was like, hats off to you, brother. That was all right. Like, sincerity is everything. And once you got that faked, I don't know if you've watched that, the Chael Sonnen package, where at the end, and he's like talking about the only promise is I'm going to beat Tito Dead. I'm going to come home with a championship belt. The only promise I didn't keep to my late father, and then he fucking breaks it. It was like the James Brown cape routine. I was standing on my feet in my office going, yeah, that's a way to fucking stay out of the Lost Battalion. That was almost as good as Cardi Garbrandt with the little dying kid there with the belt, the little fat dying kid with the belt. You know, I mean, this was like, this is a master class on how to stay out of the fucking on how to stay out of the Lost Battalion. You know?
And it all has to do with Chael Sonnen's package.
I mean, it's like
looking at it.
What is this?
Staring at his package and going, yes, that's it. That's what he said, man.
Save
That's
it from my legal counselor friend.
What the hell? What the hell is wrong with this guy? Video package, right? So this is a master.
Alexei's done killed himself.
And also, I'd like to say there were also legitimate fighters who fucking jumped both feet in as a result of this fucking terrible mockery of a travesty of a sham. Joe Lazon displayed himself to be the fucking man again. I like that. He gave a new life and second life to Marcin Held. That was a bullshit. Marco Rosales, I find out, was one of the judges. He can go fuck himself. You can quote me on that. Hashtag Marco Rosales, go fuck yourself. And Court McGee, I thought, got robbed too. I'm willing to entertain a sort of argument that maybe he didn't, but I genuinely thought he got fucking robbed. But there were fights, snooze-worthy fights on that fucking card that you just don't do this to me again. Don't, as far as I'm concerned, those guys who they interviewed who were fighting these fucking shit drudgery affairs, who start talking about, you know, I'm just whatever the bald one wants me. He doesn't want you to do shit. He just wants you to go away. You know, so if I knew your names, if I had my tote sheet out here, I would put you in the Lost Battalion, but I think you know who you fucking are. Come on. You know, that was, hey man, it was tough. That's why I'm sick today. Well, I'm sick today, one, because I almost killed myself yesterday. So it's part of my throat it was intense, man. It was intense. Like I was literally life flashing in front of my fucking eyes. Mama Cass. I leave a Thai restaurant. Me and the wife leave a Thai restaurant, and I'm in the car, got some gas, and my kids bought me these super strong mints, right? So I'm an impulse control guy. I have problems with it. I can't use them as lozenges. So yeah, thank you, sir. So we already got the hashtag going. Marco Rosales, go fuck yourself. It's already done. So I bite down on these things, and they go, the super strong mints go down the wrong fucking pipe, right? And so right away, my throat goes into self-defensive mode and closes on the broken bits of the fucking mint, and all of a sudden, like wheezing, like you can't, like when your throat has been crushed. And I'm driving. I think I'll drive it off. My eyes are watering a little bit. Fuck it, I can't drive. And of course, me being as flinty as I am, I said, no way am I throwing up a $70 dinner. You know. So I'm, you know, I'm like hitting the chest, and the wife is like punching me in the back. And so I realized at a certain point that I can breathe through my nose. I'm not gonna die right away, because I started getting lightheaded, and then finally like got this fucking thing out, and my throat is like destroyed. Hey, these super strong mints are not a fucking, and they weren't even the ones that the curiously strong mints. They weren't even. There was some like special thing that my kids got me for Christmas. It's like, I got it. Can't wait for that inheritance, huh? Hey.
But you didn't throw up that $70 dinner though.
I did not. I threw up some of the throat destroying mints, and I didn't crash the car. I just pulled over like right on the island. But that was intense.
Good grief. Well.
I got two announcements before you do the sign out, Alexei. One, we're still having troubles with the iTunes feed. Vox is supposedly working on it, but in the meantime, SoundCloud, MMA Nation on SoundCloud will get you the audio-only version. And two, Eugene and I are going to do the first ever If Care Don't Care preview for a Bellator event tomorrow because of Chael Sonnen's greatness. So.
And the third, Viewers, listeners, please let us know in the comments any favorite segments that you've had in the past, any favorite moments for shows past. Let us know. We're crowdsourcing.
Episode and time that it happened. That's
Yes.
We're looking for funny and brilliant. So funny things Eugene has said and brilliant things Kid Nate has said and
Alexei just
and Alexei,
smiling.
Alexei's best introductions.
You could just winnow that list down right away.
Alexei's like the Zeppo marks, like what are Zeppos?
No. You just said brilliant things that you had said, and I was write that shit down, man. Oh, God.
I just let you carry on a 10-minute choking story. The one time I wanted to talk about my hemorrhoids, you just shut me down immediately.
And there's a big difference between your hemorrhoids and my throat.
Well, thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at Kid Nate Alexei Auld. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene. Leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Ozzy.com. And be sure to check out all three of us on Amazon.com. We'll be back next week with another edition of If I Did It. And we don't know what we're going to be discussing yet because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.